Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michelle Fondin, and I'm the author of Heal Yourself, A Return to Wholeness, the Integration of Body, Mind, Soul, and Spirit. And in fact, this video today is about what does that mean exactly, the integration of self. Well, stay tuned because I am going to explain to you exactly what that means. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications, and thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. I do readings, 30, 60, and 90-minute readings, romance, twin flame, life path, and purpose. You can book that at my website, michellefondinauthor.com. What does it mean? The integration of the self. Returning to wholeness. What does that mean? What in the world am I talking about when I speak about the reintegration of the self? It's very interesting because this book came to me as a direct message from my guardian angels and my spirit guides around the beginning of the pandemic, and probably just slightly before that, just slightly before the pandemic hit in 2020, where I got the deep message that I needed to write this book. It was interesting at the time because as it was just slightly before the pandemic, slightly before what we knew 2020 was to become for all of us globally, I had received the message that I really needed to write a book about a return to wholeness and the integration of the self. I truly did not understand the reasons why. So as I am known to do, when my guardian angels, when God asks me to do something and I don't fully understand it, I know well enough now to jump right into it without questioning God or my spiritual guidance. I know that. I know that I just have to kind of let go, do what they ask me to do, and then I'll discover the reason somewhere down the road. And for me, with this book, there is absolutely no difference to what happened here and what has happened in the past when I was asked to either write about something or speak about something. And now here we are in January 2021. If you are listening to this video in January of 2021, now we're here in January 2021. And this book now makes a lot more sense to me as far as what it needs to provide to you, to the world, to those who take interest in this book. What you guys need, what the world needs. I am well versed in the philosophy of yoga. I took my first yoga class when I was 18 years old, and it was a love affair with yoga from that point forward. Now, between the time I was 18 and well into adulthood, there were periods of time where I had let go of my yoga practice. I took it more or less seriously throughout my 20s, for example. But the word yoga means union. It literally just means, it's a Sanskrit word, it means yuj, to yoke together, to tie together. And it was traditionally used in agricultural terms to, for example, to yoke or link two oxen together. If you've ever seen pictures of old movies or just pictures of agriculture from pre-machinery times, where they would take kind of like a wooden stick or something and tie oxen together so that they could pull forward a cart or whatever they were trying to use to sow the fields, and those oxen would move together simultaneously. So the word yoga means union or yoking together. And I have been well versed in the philosophy of yoga. I have taught the philosophy of yoga. And in fact, when I was writing this book, Heal Yourself, A Return to Wholeness, I had been working, and this has been an ongoing project, guys, believe me. I've been working on that other book for about 5 or 6 years. But I had been working on the 8 Yoga Sutras. I had been working on a book, and which I will finish at some point, on modern living with the Yoga Sutras, modern living with yoga philosophy, and how it can apply to your life today. So I had been writing that book, and my angelic guidance said, no, you need to stop writing that book and write this one. I'm like, okay, And that is why it has taken me 5 years to write that other book, because in between that, I wrote Twin Flame Romance, and before that, I wrote Enlightened Medicine. So there have been many books in between, and I have not yet to finish the book on the Yoga Sutras. However, the reason why I tell you that I realized the importance of the reintegration of the self today, January 2021, because about January of 2020, and I did post a video on this, and I will try to put the link above if I remember, and I need to search in early 2020 for the videos that I have posted, and I'm not even sure it was in the title. But I had received a channeled message from my angels that I did post in a YouTube video about something called the Great Divide. And I wasn't sure that it had applied to the whole world at that time, which in fact, the more that we have seen things grow apart in 2020 and into 2021, it really is affecting the entire world. But I was under the impression that the Great Divide was uniquely applying to twin flames and the twin flame collective, and that some twin flames in the collective would come into union and some would refrain from coming into union based on the soul contracts that these souls have agreed in coming to this life. And I explained it in a video, and I explained the concept of the Great Divide, but I did not understand the magnitude of the Great Divide as it stands today. So in case you haven't noticed, all throughout 2020, now this is just an exacerbation. It's not that division has not happened before. Of course, division has happened. It's just that a great big light was shined on division and polarization in 2020. A great big light was shown on it. And so we saw more division in 2020 than we have seen previously, especially in the past 20 years, because the light had not been shining in particular on that division. So there you go. What we see in the world today is division everywhere. We see division among people of certain political persuasions. We see division among people of different religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs more than ever before. We see division in people with different monetary or income or demographics than we've ever seen before. We see more disparity in incomes than ever before. We see even divisions among family members, and that has just exploded in 2020. So the Great Divide, as I foresaw it, I didn't see the entire picture, but it really is shown starkly all over the planet as we speak to each other today in 2021. So why does that matter? You want to know, like, why are you talking about this? I thought we were talking about the reintegration of the self. Why is that even important? Well, the reason why that is important is because in Vedic philosophy, which is a more global East Indian philosophy, from which comes the Yoga Sutras, from which comes the practice of Ayurveda, Ayurvedic medicine, which I do practice, and I have counseled many people in Ayurveda. There is an aphorism that says, as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. As is the macrocosm, so is the microcosm. And what does that mean? That means that the reflection, as I said, there was a light that is shining down upon the earth now. And as we see the division in the world today, and as we have seen the division in the world for the past year in greater detail, not that it wasn't existing before, but in greater detail, that division is a direct reflection on the division within. The division within. More than ever before, it is important that you, the person, and me, the person, that we integrate ourselves at an even more rapid pace than ever before if we are to see the division stop in the outer world. So it starts with the microcosm that magnifies into the macrocosm. What does it mean to be divided within yourself? In the book, this book, I really do describe the fact that we come into this world as whole, and then we take on an ego, and we take on a human body, and we take on emotions, then we take on memories, then we take on an intellect, and all of those things cause division within us. And what these things become is they become the fragmented parts of ourselves that we are constantly battling with. And that's why we feel disease. That's why we feel unwell. That's why we feel out of sorts. That's why we don't feel like our life is in flow. It's because we have not reintegrated all of the parts of ourselves that have been divided. And the process of reintegration is the process of healing on all levels. It's the process of healing your body, healing your mind, healing your intellect, healing your emotions, healing your past, healing your present, your future, healing your soul. And then when that happens, you ultimately heal the collective. Because if enough of us reintegrate within ourselves, then we will reach critical mass in which it will then heal the collective, heal the world. Now, many people who come to my YouTube channel come as twin flames. And they come because they are in a twin flame situation or soulmate situation, and they wish to reunite with their twin flame. So see, even in the collectivity, which we call twin flames, there is a seeming division among the twin flames. There is a seeming division among the divine masculines and the divine feminines of those viewers who come to me on YouTube. Here's what I want to say to you if you happen to be in a collective that we refer to as the Twin Flame Collective, or even if you're in a collective which is a soulmate relationship and you want them back, or you're in a romantic relationship and you just want them back. Here's the key, guys. You need to reintegrate with yourself first before you can reintegrate with your twin flame. That's the key. That is the key to success. Because if there are the fragmented parts of yourself that can't even concur with each other to create a life that is in flow with the entire universe, then you are in a constant battle with the various parts of yourself, and nobody can agree. So your ego can't agree with the mind can't agree with the intellect can't agree with the spirit can't agree with the body. And so you have this chaos and turmoil within you. You have this storm within you that must be calmed by reintegration. And the next question that you might be thinking in your mind right now is, well, how in the world do I do that? How do I do that? So I'm going to be producing about 5 or 6 videos along these lines to give you some clues as to things that you can do to reintegrate within yourself, reintegrate the parts of yourself that have been fragmented. However, that being said, this book can help if you read, if you listen, if you're more of an auditory intelligence, if you have more auditory intelligence, I have this book on Audible. But this book, in a very short version, can give you the keys to the reintegration of yourself. My meditation course, and I would say meditation is number one. Number one. Meditation is number one. And the link is below to register for my online meditation course. It is very affordable. And in fact, it is way more affordable than the courses that I stood in front of a classroom of students and taught in person from 2009 through 2019. And I had people in front of me and they were paying a lot more money than what I am charging for the online course. And in fact, when I teach the course one-on-one in person, it's more than double the price that I have charged here on the Kajabi site. In that course, you will get your personalized mantra, and that's based on Vedic astrology, your birth date, birth time, and birthplace. And so it's a very unique mantra to you and your astrological sign. And it's an integrative course, meaning that by the time you are done with the course, you will know how to meditate day and night for the rest of your life. So it's really a one-time investment for the rest of your life, as long as you apply it. I can teach you the tools, but if you don't apply the tools, there's nothing I can do. So have you been feeling divided since the pandemic started? Have you been feeling the division within yourself? Now, moreover, what I want to ask you is, have you been feeling the division in your household, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your workplace, among your friends, on your social media feed from the people that you are connected to on social media? Have you felt it effectively in your life? Have you been feeling it on an emotional level that it just feels wrong? It feels like there should not be this disharmony. There should not be this division. Do you feel out of sorts because there's just so much division everywhere? If the answer is yes, and if the answer is yes in a big way, like in a humongous way, if you're like, yes, all the check boxes are marked, then you need to start with the reintegration of the self first. Then once you begin the process of reintegrating the self, then you'll start to see that your environment, your immediate environment, this may not change in the global spectrum of things just yet, but you'll start to see that the divisions that you are currently seeing in your household, in your neighborhood, in your workplace, in your friendships, on your social media feed, you'll see that it will start to shift, change, and transform. And it's almost miraculous the way that starts to happen. Before I let you go, I'll just give you one key as to the outcome of what starts to happen when you reintegrate this self. And this is something that I teach hands-on in my meditation course on Kajabi, which the link is below. So the thing that starts to shift and change for you as you reintegrate the pieces of yourself that have been fragmented and partitioned, and those parts of yourself are kind of arguing with each other, is you become the observer. So you shift from, I am the active participant in this chaos, to, I am the observer of my actions, reactions, and of the world at large. And when you become the observer, what happens is you don't get caught up in the drama. Even if someone is losing it right in front of you, you just become the observer and you're like, that's really interesting. That's interesting that they are choosing to manifest their world in that way. Now, before, you would have gotten caught up in it. You would have gotten caught up in the emotions, in the environment, in the vibe, in the arguments, in the conflict, whatever it was. But as you become whole within yourself, you become the observer a lot more. And if you make the selective choice to get caught up in the drama, that's your choice. But you can also make the conscious choice not to. And that is the beauty of being whole within yourself. Because then you become more in control of yourself, of your life, and of your destiny. And what is better than having total control? And we're not talking about in a controlling way, but a lot of people, and I'd say most people, they're going through life just kind of like a piece of driftwood being tossed to and fro. And, they have no choice in the matter, whether they hit a river bank or whether they get carried down a large waterfall. Most people don't think that they have that choice, but you do. So be a conscious choice maker, become the observer, and start the process of the reintegration of the self, and you will see your life transform in amazing ways. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on that bell, scroll to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with others. And thank you so much for your support. You can buy a book or 2 or 3. You can also pledge your support on Patreon. www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin. And I will see you in the next video.